If you want a fresh, creator-driven YouTube script that feels like a commentator thinking out loud, here's an original take inspired by the topic of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's Marsh Farm setup. It's crafted to be engaging, opinionated, and suitable for a channel that analyzes royal news with personality. Hook, midnight to 012. What if I told you the most watched door on the Sandringham Estate isn't a royal throne room, but a gate? Today we're unpacking why Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's new gates at Marsh Farm aren't just security gear. They're a signal about perception, privacy, and a new chapter under scrutiny. Context setup 012 to 040. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, 66, is moving into Marsh Farm on the Sandringham Estate, but renovations aren't finished yet. For now, he's staying 2 miles away at Wood Farm. The latest sighting, a pale wooden gate tucked behind a fresh fence, designed to block the public view of the house while work continues. It's not just about keeping noses out. It's about setting the narrative as the royal story quietly pivots away from the lodge era. Main breakdown, key idea 1. Privacy as narrative control, 040 to 210. Concept. The new double-door gate and extended fence aren't just practical. They're a deliberate stagecraft move. By positioning a tall gate and a fence, the property fence lines off the home from the road, shaping what the public can see. Commentary. Personally, I think this is less about security and more about controlling the story. In an era where every royal sighting becomes a headline, the optics of secrecy matter as much as the security. What makes this really interesting is how a simple gate becomes a symbol of reinvention after a fall from grace. If you take a step back and think about it, the gate is a visual cue. This chapter is about quiet rebuilding, not grand display. Analysis. The gate's sealing mechanism suggests intent to minimize casual peeks, which signals a desire to reframe Andrew's public image from the once title holder to a private individual seeking normalcy within the estate's boundaries. This connects to the broader trend of royals managing visibility through architecture and landscape, not just press statements. Reflection. People often mistake privacy for invisibility. The real aim here could be carefully calibrating what the public absorbs and what remains out of view as renovations finalize. Key idea 2. Relocation as a soft rebranding, 210 to 340. Concept. Moving from Royal Lodge to Marsh Farm in the same estate, with temporary lodgings at Wood Farm, positions Andrew in a transitional space rather than a definitive home. Commentary. In my opinion, this speaks to the fragility of status in modern monarchy. The estate isn't just a property portfolio. It's a containment system for narrative management. This relocation is a soft reset, allowing a narrative reset without fully severing the Windsor connection. What this really suggests is that even a royal with a tarnished title can still leverage proximity to power to shape perception. Analysis. The 2-mile move keeps him within the king's sphere while giving space for renovation, signaling a political and social détente rather than exile. What many people don't realize is how proximity to Sandringham works as a trust signal. You're allowed to reform, but under watchful eyes. Perspective. This pattern mirrors broader trends where prominent figures negotiate privacy within a public institution, using geography as a tool for gradual reintegration. Key idea 3. Estate rules and behavior as soft power, 340 to 520. Concept. The Wood Farm lodging comes with relaxed staff rules and a notable prohibition. No cats inside, tied to pheasant protection, plus a ban on BBQs outside designated areas. Commentary. What makes this really interesting is how a private residence inherits public ritual. The no-cat rule isn't whimsy. It's pragmatic conservation policy echoing tradition. It shows the estate management weaponizes everyday life to preserve hunting culture and wildlife. In my view, this is a quiet reminder. When you live inside a royal estate, your personal routine becomes part of the estate's ceremonial fabric. Analysis. The rules underscore a boundary between private life and public expectation. This isn't merely about comfort. It's about preserving a lifestyle that can withstand scrutiny. The absence of uniforms for staff at Wood Farm also flips the usual royal service dynamic, hinting at a looser, more insular approach to day-to-day operations. Perspective, it reveals how the monarchy blends tradition with modernity, letting a high-status resident experience a more relaxed atmosphere while still being tethered to formalities when significant events occur. Key idea 4. The broader media narrative, 520 to 650. Concept, coverage highlights every new feature, gate, fence, trench, dish, carpet fittings, as pieces of a larger puzzle about Andrew's life post-lodge. Commentary, what this really suggests is how media framing shapes public memory. The gate becomes a prop in a story about reclamation rather than scandal. From my perspective, the focus on security upgrades invites viewers to read between the lines. This isn't just about a home. It's about a man trying to re-enter the public arena on his own terms. What many people don't realize is how stylized reporting can guide sentiment, turning a quiet renovation into a narrative of resilience or retreat, depending on the voice you hear. Analysis, the involvement of Linney Cooper, a royal warrant holder, for interior fittings adds a layer of continuity with past royal associations, reinforcing legitimacy and continuity despite titles being trimmed. This is less about luxury and more about signaling a stable transition within the Windsor ecosystem. Deeper insight, connecting dots, 650 to 820. Concept, the ongoing story at Marsh Farm fits a larger pattern. Royals navigating visibility by shaping living spaces, not just publications. Security architecture, private space, and estate etiquette are all instruments of soft power in a modern monarchy. Commentary, if you tilt your head and look at it broadly, the gate, fence, and even the no-cat rule echo a trend where public figures curate their personal environments to align with evolving reputations. It's not vanity, it's narrative governance. Analysis, this shift points to a future where private life on royal land is increasingly managed like a brand ecosystem. Controlled access, curated aesthetics, and policy-like house rules, all designed to protect reputation while retaining public relevance. Closing thought, 8:20 to 9 o'clock. Final takeaway, the Marsh Farm developments aren't just about a single mansion getting a facelift. They're a microcosm of how power, privacy, and perception intertwine in the 21st century. The gate isn't just metal and wood. It's a symbol of a life being reshaped to fit a new chapter within an ancient institution. The question to viewers, what do you think is the smartest move here? Quiet reinvention or continued public visibility? Share your take, and tell me which piece of this story you think signals the strongest shift in how royals manage life after public scandal. And screen prompts. If you enjoyed this analysis, like and subscribe for more breakdowns of how architecture and etiquette shape public figures. Comment below with your hottest theory about Andrew's next moves. Catch you in the next video.